Hello, and welcome to the Community Choice 2020 Bank Secrecy Act training. I am your Compliance Officer, Andy Johnson, and I am excited to speak with you all today. The Bank Secrecy Act requires that all credit union staff receive annual training regarding the requirements laid out within the Act. This year, we are going to touch on a few of those requirements and then take a quiz. Let's get started. Over a course of approximately about the next 10 minutes or so, we will have to make sure that you have a basic understanding of the requirements of the Bank Secrecy Act, that you understand what is required from our member identification program, that you are familiar with our reporting responsibilities in regards to cash transactions, that you are aware of how to report suspicious activity, and that you understand the credit union's obligation to collect and maintain certain information in connection with outgoing wire transfers and the cash purchase of monetary instruments. First, an introduction to the Bank Secrecy Act. The Bank Secrecy Act was originally passed in 1970, and it requires financial institutions to maintain and report appropriate and accurate records of activity with the goal of helping the United States government detect and prevent money laundering. The Bank Secrecy Act has a number of key components that we will need to know how to effectively protect our members and their money. They can all be broken down into knowing who we are dealing with, what is happening to the money that comes in and out of the credit union, and why the transaction took place. The who can be answered with the credit union's member identification program. This aspect of BSA requires us to know who we are dealing with and to verify that identity through accurate documentation when opening a new account or loan relationship. Our member identification program allows us to form a reasonable belief that we know the true identity of each person we conduct business with. In order to have established relationships with our members, we need to know who they are. We are required to obtain valid proof of the member's full legal name, date of birth, tax ID number, such as a social security number, and their current physical address. The member identification responsibilities also apply to business accounts. Not only do we need to collect the points of information listed on the last slide for individuals associated with that account, but we also need to identify who all the beneficial owners of that business are, who have more than 25% or more of ownership claim. OFAC is another aspect of the BSA program's requirements. OFAC stands for the Office of Foreign Assets Control, which is a division of the United States Treasury Department. OFAC maintains a specially designated nationals list, or SDN list. The SDN list contains the names of individuals or companies owned or controlled by blocked countries, narcotics traffickers, or suspected terrorists or those funding terrorism. Federal law strictly prohibits the credit union from doing business with anyone who appears on the OFAC SDN list. Prior to opening a new account, we are required to check the applicant against OFAC list. If he or she is a match, Community Choice is prohibited from opening that account. In addition to new members, the credit union's existing membership is also checked against OFAC's SDN list periodically. We are obligated to block any assets and transactions of a member who appears on the SDN list. The what portion of Bank Secrecy Act can be answered by the credit union's reporting responsibilities. The first of the several reporting requirements under the Bank Secrecy Act relate to currency transaction reports, or CTRs. CTRs are a tool used to report all cash transactions over $10,000 to the government. The credit union is required to file a CTR in connection with each deposit, withdrawal, or payment in cash over that $10,000 threshold. Multiple cash transactions totaling more than $10,000 within the same business day will be treated as a single reportable transaction, and we are required to report those as well. CTRs must be filed within 15 days of each transaction, so the credit union relies heavily on back office reporting, account tracking, and the awareness and recognition of staff to know when these transactions occur. The why portion of the Bank Secrecy Act can be found through investigating suspicious activity. The credit union also has the responsibility to document and report all suspicious activity through the filing of SARs. The Bank Secrecy Act mandates that the credit union must file a SAR if there is a criminal violation involving employees or staff, if a criminal violation totals $5,000 or more and we can identify a suspect, if the criminal violation totals $25,000 or more and we can't identify a suspect, or if a criminal violation totals $5,000 or more and it might involve potential money laundering or other illegal activity. If the transaction is designed to evade BSA regulations and reporting, such as structuring, or if there is no apparent business or lawful purpose for a member to engage in such a transaction. However, that is not the only time a SAR can be filed. We are able to report suspicious activity or behavior at our discretion, regardless of circumstances as well. You, as employees, are encouraged to report any suspicious activity or behavior of any member, guest, or employee to BSA staff, and we will investigate and decide if a SAR needs to be filed or not. SARs must be filed within 30 calendar days. If we can't identify a suspect at the time that we identify the activity, we have 60 calendar days to file the report. If the suspicious activity continues after initial discovery, we will file a new SAR every 90 days as long as activity continues. Suspicious activity reports are extremely confidential. You cannot notify any person involved in the activity that a SAR has or will be filed, and you should not discuss the activity or SAR filings in front of other employees or members. You should share SAR information only with those who have a need to know, such as your manager or the credit union's BSA officer. Any sharing of SAR information outside of these restrictions is a serious violation of federal law. Other suspicious activity to watch out for are behavioral patterns. Whether reviewing account histories, speaking with someone over the telephone, or noticing unusual questions and habits, it is our job to protect the members' finances. Part of doing that is to know them well enough to notice when they appear nervous, confused, coached, or scared. Financial exploitation and abuse take many forms. Often it is up to us to notice when something appears off. When in doubt, reach out to your manager or contact BSA staff directly with your concerns, and we will take the time to look into it. BSA reporting requirements also apply to outgoing wires. With each wire transfer request of $3,000 or more, we must collect and record the name and address of the originator, the amount they want to send, the date it was sent, any payment instructions that they provide, the name of the financial institution it goes to, as well as the name, address, account number, and any other specific information regarding the beneficiary or the person receiving the funds. Just like wires, the credit union is responsible for tracking certain information in regards to monetary instrument sales, such as cashier's checks or reloadable prepaid cards. The credit union must collect certain information when cash is used to purchase a monetary instrument for the amounts between $3,000 and $10,000. Multiple cash purchases totaling between $3,000 and $10,000 during any one business day must be treated as a single reportable purchase, just like the CTR rule. For these applicable cash transactions, we must collect the name of the purchaser, the date of the purchase, the type of instrument that they purchased, the dollar amount for each monetary instrument, if there are more than one, and specific information about the purchaser. If you have any questions about the Bank Secrecy Act or any other questions about what we've covered, you can ask your manager or reach out to me directly. A good resource is the credit union's BSA policy, which can be found on Just Ask. Instructions are listed here on the slide for you. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to me directly with any questions, and I will be happy to assist you. This concludes the Community Choice Credit Union 2020 Bank Secrecy Act Annual Training. Please be sure to complete the accompanying SurveyMonkey quiz in order to get credit for this course. All quizzes must be completed no later than November 1st. Thank you for listening.